Hello there, Mark Summers here with you on Q News. Voting continues in the first day of the second phase of Egypt's 2025 parliamentary elections. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has cast his vote this morning in the second phase of Egypt's 2025 House of Representatives elections. The elections are held nationwide on the 24th and 25th of November. President el-Sisi voted at his designated polling station at the Shahid Mustafa Yusri Amira Model Preparatory School for Girls in Heliopolis. The director of the Egyptian executive body of the National Election Authority, Councillor Ahmed Bandari, has confirmed that voting proceeded smoothly during the ongoing parliamentary elections, with all polling stations opening on schedule and no violations of campaigning rules detected nearby. He added that a hotline has been established to address any complaints regarding the electoral process. Bandari emphasized zero tolerance for infractions and encouraged citizens to participate actively in the vote. The authority reminded voters not to photograph ballots and to avoid legal consequences, and reaffirmed that any breaches of election regulations have been handled according to the law. Authorities stressed that the process remains transparent, orderly, and fully operational across all voting centres. The first day of voting in the second phase of Egypt's 2025 House of Representatives elections has witnessed broad participation from several ministers who cast their ballots across various polling stations. Officials emphasised that voting is both a national duty and a constitutional right, reflecting support for the democratic processes and state institutions. The Arab Organization for Human Rights closely monitored the second phase of Egypt's House of Representatives elections. Dr. Naveen Masad, a member of the organization, described the process as smooth and well organized. She highlighted the strong cooperation between the organization's monitoring delegation and observers from other Arab countries, which facilitated the oversight process. Dr. Masad also noted the visible presence of candidate representatives from the very start of voting, ensuring transparency. At first glance, there was no electioneering or campaign materials near the polling stations, which is an important positive indicator, she explained. El Adrisi El Hassan, a board member of the organization, observed the vibrant participation of Egyptian citizens in selecting their legislative representatives. He reported no negative observations, emphasizing that the process included all the essential positive elements and was accessible for people with disabilities, and demonstrated encouraging youth engagement. Seeing young voters involved is particularly important for the process and the future of the democratic process, he remarked. Alet Shalabi, the organization's president, observed higher voter turnout during this phase, noting the diverse demographic participation across age and gender. From the very first hour, the turnout seems better, with significant youth participation alongside older voters. This mirrors the strong engagement we observed among Egyptians abroad last Friday and Saturday, reflecting increased public confidence in the electoral process. He also emphasized that the procedural measures, such as the cancellation of 19 districts in the first phase, reinforced the process's credibility. Meanwhile, the Nazaha coalition also reported smooth electoral proceedings. In Suez, a coalition member overseeing a polling at Sami el-Baroudi School described a calm, secure environment with a friendly judge and a steady stream of voters. In Menefea, George, an observer from Greece, shared his positive impressions after visiting polling stations, noting that all preparations and procedures were well executed. Another first-time observer, Stevie, praised the extensive training she received and the seamless conduct of the elections, expressing admiration for the organization, efficiency, and ease of the voting process. And on your screen now is Damyot or Damietta. This is a polling station there. Election voting centres open right away across the nation. And we see some of those people placing their vote in the House of Representatives elections there on screen. And there has been a large turnout of women and youth voters as well. Scenes here from Damietta. According to the permits issued by the National Election Authority, the elections are being observed by 20 accredited embassies inside Egypt, along with 14 international organizations and 58 local organizations and associations. In addition, several international bodies from Jordan, from Russia, and the African Union are following the process, alongside media coverage by around 168 international and local outlets. The Arab Organization for Human Rights is monitoring Egypt's electoral process under permit number 21/2025, issued by the National Election Authority. Authorizing it is as one of the international organizations permitted to observe the 2025-26 elections. The organization's international mission includes 55 observers representing 18 nationalities, accredited to monitor both the Senate and House of Representatives elections. For the second phase of the parliamentary elections this week, 30 observers from 9 nationalities, Egypt, Sudan, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Yemen, Palestine and Jordan and the Netherlands, are deployed across 8 governorates. The mission covers a representative sample across 4 regions: Greater Cairo, the Canal Cities and East and Central Delta, operating in 8 governorates: Cairo, Qayyubaya, Ismailia, Manofia, Gabaye, Dakalia and Damietta. Their work is carried out through 5 field teams. Teams 1 and 2 monitor Cairo's 19 general constituencies, comprising 724 subcommittees. Team 1 covers East and North Cairo as well as Qayyubaya, while Team 2 monitors Central and South Cairo. Team 3, designated West Delta, covers Suez, 1 constituency, 41 subcommittees, and Ismailia, 3 constituencies, 182 subcommittees. Team 4, Central Delta, oversees Ghabeya, 10 constituencies, 703 subcommittees, and Manofia, 9 constituencies, 542 subcommittees. Now joining us is the journalist and writer Ihab Omar. Thank you very much for being here with us on Q News. What does today's voter presence reveal about Egyptians' dedication to taking part in the democratic process?
Hello, and thank you for having me. What's happening today confirms how aware the Egyptians are, and that they recognize their constitutional right, and that they are very educated and can actually practice their constitutional rights, and can participate and be a part of the democratic life, and that they do not need anyone to filter anything for them or to tell them what to do and what not to do. And so today we have seen a very high turnout rate, and it shows that the Egyptians are very that they trust the Egyptian government and the Egyptian authorities. And so no matter what, no matter who wins, the voters still are entitled to the right of having a smooth electoral process and to be able to choose who to represent them in the parliament. As we know, the role is to put the legislations and the laws, and this is what the Egyptians have showed today.
And how would you assess the opening day of the second phase of the parliamentary vote?
I think that the process is going very smoothly and is very successful. We don't have any problems, and in this context here, we need to talk about the Egyptian government respect when it comes to the ballot box and to the elections, because as we know, we have conflicts in the region because of we have lots of wars between Israel and a number of other countries in the region and the Middle East. And but yeah, even with these things going on, we held the elections on time. And the same thing happened in 2023 when the war started. We insisted on holding the presidential elections on time, and so these are the third parliamentary elections after the 30th of June demonstration. And so this shows that the parliamentary and political and democratic life in Egypt is very stable, and that Egypt is very stable and a country that doesn't have any problems and isn't affected by any conflict in the region. And so yes, this sends messages along with the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. This shows that Egypt is very stable and is very successful and independent, and that we are going on with our daily life with no obstacles or any challenges, and Egypt isn't affected at all.
And what is your reaction to the strong voter presence that we are witnessing on these pictures on our screens now? It's very strong voter presence today at the parliamentary elections.
Here we see that the Egyptians are getting more and more aware, and that they understand the parliament's role, and that electing a member of the parliament isn't, it's not something that isn't important. No, it is very crucial actually, and you're basically choosing who to represent you and your children, and who's going to put the laws and legislations and to solve any problems that we can encounter every day.
Indeed, and so in that vein, how do you evaluate the National Election Authority's role in ensuring the smooth and accessible voting experience?
First of all, the authority was just one step away from any. They were one call away. Basically, their role and their part, and they were always ready to face anything. This has always been happening for the past 200 years, basically, and they always put the Egyptians first, and they made sure that no one was influencing the Egyptians or the voters, no candidates or no other party. And so yeah, also the judicial authority here has been respecting the Egyptians always, and today we see this happening as well. We have seen attempts to influence the voters by the candidates or other parties, but yeah, here they are supporting the Egyptians and making sure that they get their rights and determine who they want without being influenced at all or being manipulated. We have here a judicial regime that is very fair and strong.
And how crucial do you think it is for citizen engagement? How crucial is that citizen engagement in directing Egypt's path forward through this electoral process?
Here we've seen, as I said, people are more aware now, and they understand that the importance of these elections more. Before there were attempts to convince the people to boycott the elections or not to go, or that their votes don't really matter. But in the over the past few years, the Egyptians have been noticing the elections, and now they understand that these elections are very important, and choosing who to represent them is very important when it comes to education and health and on all fields basically. So the parliament here is the one that puts the rules and legislations. And so yeah, today we are we are actually seeing this apply, and we're reaping the benefits.
And all over the world, it is known that young people are notoriously bad at going to cast their vote. But we have seen a very high turnout in young Egyptians in these elections. What do you think is motivating young Egyptians to go and place their vote?
This was because they've seen young candidates and they're speaking their language basically, and this is very important. The average age here of the candidates in their 30s and their 40s, and so if we're talking about males or females, this is very important here because yeah, the high turnout from the youth isn't just about voting, but they also go because they are voting for young people, just like them. They're speaking their language and they understand their needs.
What is your comment on the heavy turnout generally? We talked about young people, of course, lots of women going to the polls today as well. Do you have is it a good thing for Egypt that we have such a large high turnout in the general population? It was unfortunate. We just seem to have lost Ihab Omar just then, but thank you very much indeed for joining us. Now, the director of the Egyptian executive body of the National Election Authority, Councillor Ahmed Banderi, has confirmed that voting proceeded smoothly during the ongoing parliamentary elections, with all polling stations opening on schedule and no violations of campaigning rules detected nearby. He added that a hotline has been established to address any complaints regarding the process. Banderi emphasized zero tolerance of infractions and encouraged citizens to participate actively in the vote. The authority reminded voters not to photograph ballots to avoid legal consequences and reaffirmed that any breaches of election regulations have been handled according to the law. Authorities stress that the process remains transparent, orderly and fully operational across all voting centres. And you can see here a few different shots from different places across the nation of people waiting in line to vote. Cairo, of course, Damietta, Ismailia, and also Suez. You can see here people who are waiting for their chance to make a mark and choose their local representative who will go to the House. An important moment for anybody putting their vote and making their mark in the electoral and political process. Many young people across the country have come out, perhaps voting for the very first time. And this is a great thing for the country that so many people and people of different genders are coming out to get involved in the democratic process. Well, thank you very much for joining us on voting here in Egypt. That's been our special coverage for you. Of course, don't forget, you can keep following us on social media, on any of our platforms at Qnews EGY. You can go to our social media pages and you can see us there.